Hi, I'm Tyler, and welcome to another episode of my Christian Music Week reviews. Each week I take 5 releases, be it LCPs or singles, and after I listen to them all week, I come back here and I review them. I share what I think about them. So without further ado, let's get to this week's first release. Owl City's new single, a cover of Augustana's song, Boston. Owl City's new single, Boston, a cover of Augustana's hit Boston. And this song is going to be on the upcoming deluxe edition for Owl City's latest album, Cocoa Moon. The deluxe edition comes out March 22nd. If you want to hear my thoughts on the original version of this album, I did a review on that when it came out last year. And you can go back and check it out after we're done. But let's talk about the track Boston here. So, pretty good song here. I'll admit, I did not hear the original before reviewing this song. Until shortly before reviewing the song, I should say. I listened to the original version on the morning that I was slated to review this single, and then I played this single for the first time in the evening. But I'm glad that I went back and listened to the original, because I could definitely see how Owl City put his own unique spin on this song by giving it that upbeat synth-pop ballad sound that sounds like Owl City. But then Owl City inserts that alternative rock in the bridge that kind of resembles a little bit more what the original sounded like. So, kind of cool. Owl City makes it his own, but then he pays tribute to the original version of this song as well. And as for the lyrics here, talks about a guy who met a beautiful girl who feels sad and lonely, but ignored him and wants to move to Boston to start fresh and find a lover. Up next, the wedding version of Brandon Lake's song Nothing New. Nothing New, I Do. The wedding version of Brandon Lake's song Nothing New, I Do. Let's dive into it. So, Nothing New was originally a song on Brandon Lake's latest album, Coat of Many Colors, which I reviewed here on this channel, that album, and you can go back and check that out after we're done. Well, what's new in the Nothing New, I Do version? So, Brandon Lake changed the lyrics a teeny bit to make it a love song to his wife, who actually sings background vocals on this track. Now, let's dive into my thoughts on this new version. So, pretty good song here. Stylistically, definitely a soft, contemporary pop ballad. And as for the lyrics here, pretty good lyrics here. You can see how Brandon Lake wants to give it everything he's got in loving his wife. And as for the lyrics here, Brandon talks about how he wants to bring his wife a special, authentic love song to express how he forever, truly, joyfully loves her through everything he does. Up next, Koryn Hawthorne-On's new album, On God. Koryn Hawthorne-On's new album, On God. Let's dive into it. So, I would say there are some good moments on this album, and then there are other moments on this album, whether sound-wise or singing-wise, did not land with me. So, some good moments and then some moments I wasn't as into, but that's just my take. Stylistically here, definitely an upbeat R&B album that also incorporates hip-hop influence, some gospel influence, and a little bit of pop influence. Pretty upbeat for the most part. The only all-out ballad on this album is Cry, which works really good as a R&B ballad here. And as for the lyrics here, so even though I may have mixed feelings about it, musically speaking, lyrically, love the lyrics here. Really love how Koryn talks about moving on from a unsatisfying relationship rooted in materialism to God's love, God's unconditional love that always satisfies. And as for the lyrics here, Koryn Hawthorne talks about how she tried to sacrificially loved this boyfriend who ignored her to materialistically pursue money, and she needed to move on from the pressure he brought to God satisfying unconditional love through Jesus' sacrificial blood that faithfully stays with her to redeem her, to have strength to live her life to love him. Up next, Keith and Kristyn Getty's new album, Sing, The Great Commission World Tour. Keith and Kristyn Getty's new live album, Sing, The Great Commission World Tour, recorded on their Sing World Tour last year. Let's dive into it. So, pretty good album here. And before I get into my usual sound and lyrics descriptions, let me just take a moment to talk about who's all on this album. So, in addition to Keith and Kristyn Getty, who, by the way, Kristyn Getty doesn't necessarily sing on every single song on this album. In addition to Keith and Kristyn Getty, we have a ton of guests on this album as well, including Matt Boswell, Matt Papa, City of Light, Jordan Coughlin, Chris Tomlin, Andrew Peterson, Laura Story, Sandra McCracken, Sovereign Grace Music, Shylin, The Choir Room, and others. Now that I got that out of the way, let's dive into the description of the album itself here. So stylistically here, definitely a contemporary worship album, first and foremost, that has some strong folk influence at times. We also hear a little bit of gospel influence in a couple tracks later on as well. Mostly on the ballad side of things, but make no mistake about it, definitely some upbeat moments too here. And as for the lyrics here, love the lyrics here. Really talks about how, I really particularly like the theme of how, yes, in this world we will face persecution for sharing Jesus, but it's worth pressing on through that because of what's coming eternally. And as for the lyrics here, they talk about how the Lord Jesus Christ is worthy of praise for how in his glorious love and grace, through his sacrificial death on the cross and death-conquering resurrection, he saved us free from sin, death, and fear, to joyfully live a life of peacefully putting our hope in him, to be faithfully with us, to lead us, and sustain our strength, to persevere in telling this to others, even in the midst of persecution, as we know we will be going to our eternal home in heaven, where he will reign forever over this world to restore it from pain. Up next, our last release for today, VERIDIA's farewell single, When the Moon Dies. VERIDIA's farewell for now single, as they put it, When the Moon Dies. Let's dive into it. So what do I mean by farewell for now? So this is the last single before VERIDIA goes on hiatus. So this might potentially be the last we hear from VERIDIA. Even though Gina Jacob sounds like she's gonna continue to make music. At least. So, before I dive into my thoughts on this single, with this potentially being VERIDIA's last song, let me just take a minute to talk about VERIDIA. I am a big VERIDIA fan. They're one of my favorites, definitely. There are songs of theirs that have meant a lot to me, particularly Furious Love, but definitely a few others I can name as well. Now, well, okay, I'm gonna just say a couple other things too. I'll definitely miss VERIDIA if this is their last single, but wish them all the best for their future, and also look forward to seeing what Gina Jacob does as she continues to make music. Now, let's dive into my thoughts on the single itself here. So, pretty good song here. stylistically, definitely an electronic, alternative, hard rock feel here. And as for the lyrics here, so pretty good lyrics here. Really like how the lyrics speak to being with someone in the midst of their pain. And as for the lyrics here, Dina talks to this person who hopelessly feels like he or she will fade away, but Dina commits to cling to this person and feelingless and helping this person through his or her pain. Well, that's it for this week. Come back next week for 5 more releases. If you like what you saw in this video, please subscribe. I put out videos every Friday at 9:30 a.m. Pacific time. Also, if you have any thoughts on today's releases or what I may have said about them, let me know down in the comments below. Also, in the comments, you can let me know if there's any awesome releases that came out today that you want to see in next week's video. Also, check out the playlist section for my Museum of Dreams playlist available here on YouTube and also on Spotify. And this month's edition of the playlist includes songs from artists like Phil Wickham, Shane, Lakewood Music, and others. So go and check that out if you're interested. Well, go now. See you next week. Bye!